The Wars of the Roses were a series of dynastic conflicts that took place in England during the late 15th century, roughly from 1455 to 1487, and served as a backdrop to the pivotal events of 1471. The name of the conflict derives from the emblems of the two rival houses vying for the English throne: the White Rose of the House of York and the Red Rose of the House of Lancaster. The struggle was fundamentally about power, control, and legitimacy, as both houses traced their lineage to the royal Plantagenet line. The Wars of the Roses significantly altered the English monarchy, ushering in dramatic political and social change. The significance of the Wars of the Roses in the context of 1471, particularly the last stand of the Red Rose, lies in its role as a decisive period that shaped the fate of the Lancastrian lineage. The battles in 1471, particularly those at Barnet and Tewkesbury, were critical turning points that effectively ended Lancaster's hopes of reclaiming the throne, solidifying the rule of Yorkist King Edward IV. These battles underscored the brutal and often fickle nature of medieval warfare, where allegiances were temporary and fortunes shifted swiftly. As a result, these conflicts not only altered the line of succession, but also paved the way for the Tudor dynasty's rise, fundamentally impacting the future of England. Real-world applications of this concept are seen in the political and literary realms. Politically, the Wars of the Roses created a precedent for addressing succession disputes, influencing the political landscape of England and contributing to the development of a more stable monarchy under the Tudors. Literarily, the conflict inspired countless works, most notably Shakespeare's historical plays, which reflect the tumultuous nature and personal dramas of this period, thus ensuring the war's place in cultural consciousness. While many historians emphasize the epoch's importance in transitioning from medieval to early modern governance, some argue about the extent to which it truly redefined England. Critics suggest it was more a series of noble feuds rather than a transformative national uprising. Alternative perspectives also question the actual impact on the common populace, who may have experienced little change in their day-to-day lives despite the royal upheavals. This introduction lays the foundation for understanding the battles of 1471, spotlighting the inherent volatility of this era and its profound influence on England's historical trajectory. The Wars of the Roses richly demonstrate the complexities of power, inviting reflection on how historical narratives are constructed and their lasting effects on nations. The key events leading to the battles of 1471 refers to a series of pivotal occurrences that set the stage for the dramatic clashes during the Wars of the Roses. This period was marked by political intrigue, shifting allegiances, and bloody confrontations, which ultimately culminated in the decisive battles of Barnet and Tewkesbury. Understanding these events is crucial to grasp the underlying tensions that defined this era, where the House of Lancaster and the House of York vied for control of the English throne. Significantly, these key events highlighted the fragility of medieval power structures and the volatility of noble alliances. An example of such pivotal occurrences includes the readeption of Henry VI, where Henry briefly regained the throne with the support of Richard Neville, the Earl of Warwick, known as the Kingmaker. This reversal illustrated the fluid dynamics of loyalty and power. Another notable event was the fall of London to Edward IV in the spring of 1471, showcasing his resolve and strategic acumen, which would eventually lead to the decline of Lancastrian fortunes in the battles that followed. Supporters of these points argue that the machinations and battles of this period were crucial in shaping the monarchy's nature, evolving it from medieval feudalism towards a more centralized early modern state. These events are often seen as a clear testament to the interplay between military prowess and strategic marriage alliances in determining political outcomes. However, there are challenges and debates surrounding these events. such as differing perspectives on the motivations of key figures like Warwick. Some historians paint him as a power-hungry opportunist, while others suggest he was a principled noble seeking stability in a turbulent time. Additionally, there is controversy regarding the extent to which these battles were fueled by deep-seated ideological divides versus mere personal ambitions. Overall, the key events leading to the battles of 1471 directly influenced the course of the Wars of the Roses. They underscored the fluidity of power and highlighted the key struggles between Lancaster and York. This era not only determined the immediate outcomes of English political power, but also paved the way for the eventual Tudor dynasty. Recognizing the impact of these antecedent events allows for a deeper understanding of the intricate tapestry of English history during this transformative period. The Battle of Barnet, fought on April 14, 1471, was a significant conflict during the Wars of the Roses, a series of civil wars that plagued England in the 15th century. It was pivotal in determining the supremacy between the rival factions of the House of York, led by Edward IV, and the Lancastrians, under the deposed King Henry VI and his queen, Margaret of Anjou. The battle is notable for its strategic execution by Edward IV and its outcomes that shifted the power dynamics of the time. The strategic brilliance of Edward IV at Barnet cannot be understated. He adeptly utilized the cover of fog to conceal his troop movements, enabling him to surprise the larger but less coordinated Lancastrian forces. This decisive victory not only solidified Edward IV's hold on the throne, but also significantly weakened the Lancastrian claim, setting the stage for the subsequent Battle of Tewkesbury, which further diminished Lancastrian resistance. Edward's strategic acumen at Barnet is illustrative of how tactical innovation can alter the course of history. One example of the real-world implications of Barnet's strategy is seen in modern military doctrines that emphasize the element of surprise as a force multiplier. Another is the use of misinformation or concealment to disrupt an opponent's plans, a concept that remains relevant in military and competitive business strategies today. Opinions supporting the importance of Edward IV's tactics suggest that his ability to outmaneuver larger forces was crucial in cementing Yorkist power. Historians argue that Edward's strategic insight was a defining factor in his ultimate success and the establishment of a more centralized English monarchy. However, the battle is not without controversy. Some historical accounts debate the extent to which the fog and miscommunications among the Lancastrians contributed to Yorkist success, rather than Edward's leadership. Others criticize the broader impact of these wars on the peasantry, who suffered immensely due to the protracted conflicts. The Battle of Barnet's outcome directly influenced the subsequent Battle of Tewkesbury, linking the two events in a cascade that effectively ended significant Lancastrian opposition. This connection underscores the importance of Barnet in the larger narrative of the Wars of the Roses, marking the turning tide in favor of the Yorkists and highlighting the interplay between military strategy and political dominance. The Battle of Tewkesbury, fought on May 4, 1471, marks a pivotal moment in the Wars of the Roses, a series of dynastic conflicts between the houses of Lancaster and York for control of the English throne. As a decisive encounter, this battle concluded the second phase of the Wars of the Roses by effectively dismantling Lancastrian opposition and consolidating Yorkist control under King Edward IV. This encounter not only signifies a military triumph, but also a strategic victory that altered the course of English history. The significance of the Battle of Tewkesbury lies in its role as the definitive clash that extinguished the hopes of the Lancastrians for reclaiming the throne. With the death of the Lancastrian Prince of Wales, Edward of Westminster, and the capture and subsequent execution of key Lancastrian leaders, including Henry VI, the Yorkist victory effectively eradicated significant opposition. This battle exemplifies the ruthless nature of civil warfare during this period and underscores the lengths to which the Yorkists would go to secure their power. Two specific real-world applications illustrate the aftermath of Tewkesbury. Firstly, the stability it brought allowed Edward IV to strengthen his reign, leading to a period of relative peace and prosperity for England, known as the Yorkist re-establishment. Secondly, the power dynamics shifted in favor of the Yorkists, influencing various socio-political changes as Yorkists were able to consolidate power and reward loyal supporters, reshaping the English nobility. Supporters of the Yorkist cause viewed the victory at Tewkesbury as a divine endorsement of their claim to the throne, further legitimizing Edward IV's rule. However, the battle's brutality and the ensuing executions also sparked controversy, raising ethical questions about the treatment of captives and the sheer bloodshed witnessed during the conflict. Challenges and controversies surround the interpretation of the battle's implications. Critics argue that while the battle solidified Yorkist power temporarily, it sowed the seeds for future conflicts, as the lack of a comprehensive peace settlement meant underlying tensions persisted. Additionally, there are arguments that the ruthless elimination of Lancastrian heirs and leaders set a precedent for violence that marred future successions. The Battle of Tewkesbury connects intricately to the broader context of the Wars of the Roses by highlighting the brutal nature of the struggle for the English crown and the cyclical nature of power struggles in medieval England. It underscores the interconnectedness of military success, political power, and dynastic legitimacy, influencing subsequent events and shaping the landscape of English history in the late 15th century.